Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Thank you for staying. Now, more communities in the northeast are being cut off from the rest of the region due to heavy rains. Also, hundreds of farmers have lost their farm produce as farmlands continue to submerge in the water, and 10 people have died so far. The National Disaster Management Organization, which revealed this, said more than 6 communities in the Mamprugu-Mwaduri district remain inaccessible following torrential rains across the region. Deputy Director General of NADMO, Abu Ramadan, who is leading a national response initiative operation Thunderbolt, spoke to Joy News after a field visit to some emergency disaster zones in the northeast and upper east regions. More in the following report.
Operation Thunderbolt was launched in Accra on Friday by the National Disaster Management Organization in collaboration with multiple security agencies, including the 48th Engineers Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces. The operation is being undertaken as part of a national response ahead of the spillage of the Bagre Dam by Burkinabe authorities. Aside from sensitization programs to be carried out in communities often affected by the spillage, the team is also adequately equipped to conduct rescue operations should the need arise. The team will coordinate its activities from a control center in Wale, the West Mamprusi municipal capital of the Northeast region. Deputy Director General of NADMO, Abu Ramadan, who is leading the operation, says the team arrived on Saturday and has conducted its first assessment of the situation in some flood-prone areas. He discloses the situation is already getting worse, even as the Bagre Dam is yet to be spilled.
The team have been joined by the 48th Engineers Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces to help in the operation this year. And as you can see, we have in excess of close to about 50 men, from both joint teams, from NADMO and that of the 48th Engineers. And today actually the team went to overseas around Yagaba to do an assessment, went also to Pasingpe to monitor the water levels. And unfortunately, the dam has not been, the spillways have not been opened yet, but it looks as if the entire place is submerged in water. The water levels are high, the currents are high, and already, as you know, with 10 cases of death have been recorded, unfortunately, already. So the team have gone on the first recce today. Tomorrow morning, we'll be meeting regional heads of NADMO from the Upper East, from Northeast, and also from Northern region to look at the impact areas and how to spread the teams within those communities so that we can mitigate the impact should the water be spilled, and also the high water levels already to see how we can save lives and property.
Mr. Ramadan also says 6 communities could not be accessed by the team as they are cut off by the weeks-long heavy downpours. He, however, assured residents who are trapped in those areas to remain calm as the team is capable of responding to any emergency situation in the operational zone.
The farmers who attempted harvesting, who are doing early harvesting when even the crops are not ready for harvesting, were stopped. And we encourage them to stop the harvesting because it's risky. And in some places, they even found fishermen who had gone to put fish nets in the water, and they were there to check on their catch, and the nets were even empty, and putting their lives at risk. So the team managed to also talk to them to ask them not to go close to the water. And already 6 communities have been cut off around the Yagaba area, and we're looking at how best we can remedy the situation for those communities immediately. So tomorrow decisions will be taken, a joint decision between NADMO and the 48th Engineers Regiment, the team from Accra. We will take a decision as to how and what strategy to deploy in carrying out this year's operation. I can assure you that we are ready. The 48th Engineers Regiment has boosted our logistical strength to as well. When it comes to items, we are fully ready. All 5 regional offices are well stocked with relief items to take care of the situation. Should there be the need for additional, the headquarters is also ready. We have stock in place to also give support should any region run short of it. So I'll say we are fully prepared for this year's activity, and all the regions are fully stocked.
NADMO is meeting its regional directors this morning to map up a final strategy of the operation. But that meeting is being delayed by the rains that have been relentless across the region since from the middle of this month. Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
Let's move now to the Ashanti region, where the Director of Health Services, Dr. Emmanuel Tenkrang, has announced September for the rollout of AstraZeneca vaccines in the region. He made the announcement at a press briefing earlier this morning.
Our total active cases as at now stands at 361. We have 18 persons on admission. 8 are very severe, 2 are moderate, and 1 is critical. So if you look at the last update, you realize that we are now getting to the tail end of our 3rd wave. But we need to continue with what we're already doing by adhering to the protocols and then ensure that the vaccination program that we've started in Ashanti continued. We have been given a total of 70,300 doses of AstraZeneca, and we are going to start immunization of all those who couldn't get the opportunity to have their 2nd dose. Those who had their 1st dose for AstraZeneca in Ashanti region were close to 100,000. But as at now, we've received a total of 70,500 doses of AstraZeneca. We are encouraging all those who couldn't get their 2nd dose to patronize this one, because it's very important. And this vaccination is meant for those who have already taken their 1st dose AstraZeneca and are waiting for their 2nd dose. So if you've taken Johnson & Johnson, or you've taken Sputnik, or you've completed your dose for AstraZeneca, or you've not been vaccinated at all, this one is not for you. This particular vaccination is meant for those who are waiting for their 2nd dose AstraZeneca. And as I said, we will give it to all health workers and then the general public who has been given their 1st dose AstraZeneca. It's very, very important we do that. The program is starting on the 1st of September, and we will take 5 days to finish. So we are encouraging everyone to take part. If you've taken your 1st dose, it's very, very important you take your 2nd dose and complete.
Now, as Ghana's COVID-19 deaths hit a grim milestone with over 1,000 people dead, calls for government to fix the country's medical deficits have intensified, with more people demanding access to quality healthcare services, especially in rural Ghana. In the eastern region, however, management of the Cofridia Technical University is taking the initiative, constructing a hospital to help cater for the medical needs of the students and neighboring towns. Urging alumni and philanthropists to help finance the project, Vice-Chancellor Professor David Kofi Asuman said the pandemic had exposed gaps in the medical service, gaps he was determined to bridge.
The university is putting up a hospital, and we want the alumni to come and support us. The university also needs library, and again, we are counting on the alumni association to come to our aid. You see, if you want to measure development, you go back to where you started from and see whether it has developed or it has deteriorated. We want them to come back to Cofridia Technical University to see the place changed from where they met it to a level that they will appreciate that there has been serious development for the institution. And so we are calling on all the alumni members, those that can lead us to corporate organizations, those that can link us to places where we can get support. They should do so to help the university to develop. We want to have a niche for the university. We want to brand our university.
We apologize for the lack of sound at the tail end of that video. Now, 4 years ago, one of Ghana's worst school disasters struck in the central region when a classroom fell on 6 kindergarten children, killing them instantly and injuring many others. Children in the Roman Catholic school, just meters away, say they have been living in fear as they say their own classrooms are in a worse condition than the one that killed the 6. This week, Joy News is launching the Classroom Project to highlight the need for self-help in addressing school infrastructural challenges across the country. My colleague, Justice Beidou, who reported on the accident when it happened in 2017, has been back in the community to see what exactly has changed. Here is his report.
This is Breman Jamre's ground zero. It was here 4 years ago that 6 children crashed to their death in a building collapse that shook the nation. Today, some of the children who survived that accident play in the leftover rubble. Joy News' coverage of the disaster moved non-governmental organizations to build the structure which now houses some of the children. That aside, not much has changed. This is the Jamra Roman Catholic School. It's only a few meters away from the Methodist school that collapsed. The scenes here are way too familiar.
The building, sometimes when someone just hits his hands on the wall, you see that the wall is shaking. And someone will say, hey, it's going to collapse, so it's going to... Then you try to get out of the class. Someone will come and tell you that I dreamt that the school has collapsed. So when you are sitting there, you say, hey, I don't want to sit near the corner. This one dreamt this, so...
The cracks on the wall, that's made us think that the building is a death trap. And when the wind flows, the building shakes. And we thought it is going to break. And there's darkness in the room. When it is 10 o'clock going, the dark comes to our class because there was no windows in the class and the heat. When the teacher is teaching, we have to use book to fan ourselves. Due to that, we cannot be concentrated.
The school was put up largely by community members of Jamra. It is now run by the government and yet has seen very little infrastructure development. Much of the walls have open cracks and fallen roofs. Last year, villagers here worried it may come crashing down, pull down 2 classrooms, moving students to already congested spaces.
This is the 4th public school in this community. This one here alone has close to 600 students. While so much has been done in the other schools to bring up infrastructure to match up the numbers, so much more remains undone in many of the other schools. This leaves many children like the vulnerable ones in here today studying at the peril of their lives.
In the heart of the town, I have come to meet Nana Kwesi Enin III. He is the Krontihini of this small town.
Years ago, everybody expected the government to do everything. Now, the demand on the government has increased. The years ago expectation cannot work now. The community is willing and ready to, as it were, provide communal labor to support any NGO, any philanthropist, any institution that will want to come and rebuild the school building for us.
The warning bells from February 17, 2017, when that school accident happened here, rings loud in the minds of these children. It looks like it's only a matter of when, and not if, that they too would see their own classroom block come tumbling down. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Breman Jamra in the Central Region. This is
Some of the children we lost in that incident earlier in the Central Region. Shahida Abdallah, 4 years. Juliana Ayensu, a 6-year-old. And there are others still. There were 6 of them who actually perished, but those are some of the details. Hibalatu Abdallah, also a 5-year-old. Very young ones, 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old now. And according to her mother, she had wanted to be a nurse. Then there's Gladys Ampofo, sad, a 3-year-old there, whose mother says she used to cry when her elder sisters were going to school. Very sad development. On to the last one, Esther Mensah, also a 6-year-old who also wanted to be a nurse. And the final one is Christiana Annan, also a 6-year-old, and very pathetic, the words of her mother, "She was my heartbeat." So that's a sad story of those ones, and we're trying to forestall a similar happening. And that's why I have joining me in the studio right now, MFA, my colleague, MFA Atiamwa Eli, who is going to be telling us about the Classroom Project. Now, give us some details about the Classroom Project.
The Classroom Project as a whole is an initiative to address the classroom infrastructural challenges we have across the country. Particularly for this project, we are looking at 2 main classroom blocks. The first is in Brema Jamra, where we experienced that disaster involving the 6 kg pupils. So the structure we are looking at now is not too far from the first one that collapsed. And the story for both structures are almost the same. In fact, what we are looking at now is even in a worse state than the first one.
That's the Catholic primary school.
Yes, yes. And we do not want to be talking about that incident anymore, knowing very well that we can do something to prevent it. Right. So we here at the Multimedia Group are taking that challenge. And also because we know there are a lot of these cases across the country, and you can't have government doing everything. Right. Because everybody is calling, apart from schools, there are several problems, and everybody is calling on government. The longer we wait for government, the probability of we having some of these cases on our hands are going to increase, and so we are trying to avoid. So we are saying that the little you can give just to be able to help these communities put up conducive and safer classroom or school structures for the pupils and teachers to be able to conduct academic activities is laudable. So whatever thing you can offer, right, you know, to be able to see these school blocks come up for those communities is all about this classroom project we are beginning today. It starts between now and December. We are hoping that by close of December, we'll see the 2 blocks up, one in Tolon and one in the Central Region.
Okay, so the Central Region, again, back to the same site where this happened.
Yes.
Then Tolon in the northern belt of the country.
Exactly.
But as you reach out for people to assist, how exactly can they go about that?
So
what are the modalities?
We have Momo numbers, we have bank account numbers, and also you can walk into our offices here at the Multimedia Group and ask for assistance or directions as to how you'll be able to make any form of donation or assistance to this project. The numbers are on the screen. The Momo number is an MTN number, which is 059303 832. The name on it is Joy FM. The bank account is with the Access Bank Ghana. The branch is the Castle Road branch, Accra. And you can see the details of the branch code and then the SWIFT code. So at any point in time, whatever you want to, at your convenience, either you come here or with the information we've given on the e-fire for the classroom project, you'll be able to assist.
My colleague MFA Tiamwa Eli there giving us some details. Don't you forget to reach out. The numbers have been put out there. You can just go to the bank and make your token donation. Together, you can aid us put up classroom blocks and save the lives of these little
And I must also say we are doing this in partnership with the Star Ghana Foundation, who have always been our partners in development.
Thank you very much, MFA. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more stories. Well, staying on the classroom project, we spoke earlier to the programs manager of the Star Ghana Foundation, Eunice, and this is what she had to say.
Basically, we want to increase awareness among communities, among citizens on philanthropy, giving for social change. And the communities we come from, we live in those communities. And we as, citizens have some kind of responsibility towards, mobilizing ourselves, mobilizing our resources to meet immediate needs of the community. When we speak about local giving or local philanthropy, we are confronted with the challenge of where lies government role in this situation? Because government has, or the state has a social contract with its citizens, and our simple response is that we are collaborators in development. The state or the government has its role. Citizens also have their roles to play, and so giving to support community needs or support the needs of groups does not take away the responsibility of government towards its citizens. So that's basically the idea. We want to be able to, the initiative, raise resources from philanthropists, and philanthropists can be outside of the communities, people who are interested, who are committed to see social justice, but also community members, the people who dwell in the communities, coming together, either offering their labor. For example, in the classroom project, there's an idea of, creating space for communities to offer their labor, to offer their skills, while others also come in with their funds to meet the needs of young learners or students through the rehabilitation of classrooms. So basically, we want to raise funds domestically. We want to organize people to become active participants or active citizens in any development process in their communities, in our nation.
Staying on the subject of schools, inadequate furniture and dilapidated school buildings are what greet you when you enter most schools in the Wa-East district of the Upper West region. Many of the pupils sit and write on the rough, dusty, bare floors, while the few lucky ones who have dual desks have more than the number required to sit on them. Joy News Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam, who visited the Qatar and Bayeri primary schools, reports that the situation in the schools paints a mental picture of how widespread the issue of inadequate furniture is affecting teaching and learning in the Wa-East district.
Almost all basic schools in the Wa-East district of the Upper West region are challenged with the issue of inadequate furniture in their various schools. The pupils sit on the bare floor. The few lucky ones who have dual decks have more than the required number of pupils sitting on them. Some of them sit while using their hands to support the furniture. Teaching at Qatar and Bayre primary schools in the districts are frightening and terrible as pupils sit on the bare floor and others lie in prostrate to write and learn. This is Qatar DA Primary School with a total population pegged around 222. The school building is in deplorable state as it has never seen any form of renovation since its establishment. Inside this building, the floor cement is worn out and the pupils sit on the rough, dirty concrete floor to learn. Due to the deplorable nature of the school, the staff common room is now a death trap. As a result, the staff have no option than to sit under trees. All pupils we interacted with have one statement, which is unison.
My name is Rebecca. I am class 3. We don't have furniture to sit. My name is Elizabeth. I am class 3. We don't have furniture to sit.
The PTA chairman of Qatar Primary School, Adam Jatekeleu, lamented how bad they feel when they come to see their children sitting on the bare floor to learn.
You can see how the place is. And this is how the children manage to learn. We all know about, as you say, social distancing. You can see that if one child have COVID here, it will spread to.
Now, the country's exclusive breastfeeding rate is a cause for concern for maternal and child health experts. Only about half of babies delivered in health facilities are put to breast within the first hour of birth, particularly in this era of increased cesarean section deliveries. Breastfeeding within 1 hour of delivery has been proven to reduce newborn deaths. How easy and significant can it be for nursing mothers who go through cesarean sections to breastfeed within the first hour of delivery? Joy News' Mama V. Owusu Abwaje has been out and about finding out.
Many women today deliver their babies by cesarean section, whether elective or planned. Today, I have come to the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital. It's a live C-section that is underway, and the idea is that babies can be connected to their mothers even when they go through a cesarean section, which is a surgical procedure to get the baby out. And so we're going to be witnessing mother-baby bond, and we're going to also see how they are trying to promote early breastfeeding. Is breastfeed all through if you can, and if there aren't complications, strictly 6 months, and you can continue breastfeeding even till after 2 years.
And per the practice guidelines, we allow about a minute or two of delayed cord clamping. Baby pass urine, leave the hands, don't wipe the hands. So we allow a minute for the maternal blood to also augment the fetal circulation before we cut the cord. This is per policy of delayed cord clamping. The midwife is on standby to receive the baby subsequently. Is it 1 minute?
No, not yet.
Okay, thank you.
1 minute now.
Thank you very much. And as we all know, the month of August is the breastfeeding month for the world. The first week of August is the World Breastfeeding Week. And for Kolebu Teaching Hospital, we have decided that we are going to put all our babies delivered in the month of August skin to skin at cesarean section. So I give over to the midwife who will continue and place baby skin to skin with the mother. While the cesarean section continues, feel free, but let it come. Okay, so let's turn. I told you. When you get to that place, they sing it loud.
Miraculous scenes there, what our mothers go through to birth us all. We take a break now for business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Stakeholders in artisanal fisheries across the country are calling for a new approach in the fight against illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing in Ghana's fishing industry. Now, according to them, the recent yellow card the European Commission issued Ghana is of grave concern and should push the Ministry of Fisheries to devise better approaches in fighting the menace. At a news conference at Winneba, the canoe and gear owners indicated they were directly affected by the decline in fish stocks. Richard Kodinyaku has more in the following report.
The news conference by the Canoe and Fishing Gear Owners Association of Ghana centered on the illegal, unreported and unregulated fisheries activities and the ongoing operations to enforce the fisheries laws and regulations against it. Chairman of the Canoe and Fishing Gear Owners Association of Ghana, Nana Kweja, implored the Fisheries and Aquaculture Ministry and then the Fisheries Commission to try other innovative means of addressing the depletion fish stocks in Ghana.
We have said earlier on, during the close season period, that the no IUU pronouncement by the ministry is a laudable one. We support it because business can no more be as usual. Our stocks are down and drastic measures has to be taken to address the problem. However, the absence of a comprehensive plan and strategies is not helpful in that regard. We have also said that over-reliance on enforcement is unsustainable. It is expensive. The challenges we are faced with is a wake-up call to relook at the approach to the fight against IUU fishing. There is the need for a comprehensive plan and strategies that focuses not only on enforcement and deterrence, but largely on compliance, which is cheaper and more sustainable.
Next to the Ashanti region, where the fire service is adopting measures to reduce the turnaround time in fighting a fire within markets in the region. The measure is aimed at reducing costs incurred by victims of fire. Firefighters have been trained on the use of firefighting installations at the KJTR market, amongst other strategies to deal with emergencies. Nanaya Ojima has more.
Market fires, due to poor setups of most markets, have ruined many of their sources of income. Blockage of access routes have impeded firefighters in dousing flames in markets. Acting Regional Commander ACFO Henry Giwa says the service is embarking on sensitization campaigns in traditional markets in Kumasi as part of measures to deal with the problem.
Bantama market and Asafo market, and we've also intensified our educations over there to make sure they are very abreast with fire prevention and even firefighting before we even get there. So if you could realize, these days we are not joking, and that's why we've been able to reduce the fires in Ashanti region by 20.4%.
Unlike many markets in the country, the KJTR market in Kumasi is built with firefighting installations. Each of the 2 installed reservoirs in the market supplies enough of water for fire emergencies. Though measures are well in place for firefighting, the service has taken its personnel through the technology application in the market. ACFO Jiwa explains.
And we've observed that they have almost all the firefighting facilities, fire detection systems, all have been installed over here. So in case of any emergency or any fire outbreak, the smoke detectors are supposed to pick them, send a signal to the control panel, and the control room will also send a signal to our fire officers who are also stationed over here for us to react. So I think their installations are very good. I think this is something that we've also observed. There are some people because they wanted to put their wares on their tables, they've erected some tables along the exit way. We've observed them and we'll communicate same to management so that some of these things are prevented. Otherwise, in case of emergency and people are rushing, it will impede them, and if you don't take care, there will be a stampede.
The service is on a mission to reduce fires by 60%, achieving 20% by end of the first half of the year. Being proactive and intensifying fire education are among key strategies adopted to meet the targets. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
There's more coming up at the top of the hour. That's for business, and up next, sports.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News. Today, now secular artist and gospel singer Irene Logan has opened up on her cigarette addiction and battle with depression at the prime of her career. Speaking on the reason is Jesus on Joy FM on Sunday, the runaway hitmaker said the addictions altered part of her life during her mid-20s.
I started off my journey in 2006. I mean, my journey in the public eye. Superstar. But I've stop. I've always, been singing. Yeah. But my journey in the public eye started in 2006 when I took part in Stars of the Future. Yeah. And there was a serious contemplation. I was young. I think I was about 22 then. And I so wanted to fit in. I so wanted to fit. I'm an only child. I wanted to fit in so badly. And also, I had grown up in a Christian home all my life. And I wanted to explore the world, So that's what steered me away from my true calling. And on that line, towards that line, it put me in a world that wasn't meant for me, put me on a completely different path. And it opened me up to all types of associations that led me to all types of addictions. And it altered a big portion of my life.
Meanwhile, the musician has released her debut single as a gospel singer titled More. She says the single is a prophetic worship song about purpose and yearning for more of Jesus.
So I fell asleep and I woke up to singing in my left ear. I was hearing like people singing.
Oh, wow.
So I got up and like I was looking around to wonder like what's happening. You know, are people singing in the plane?
In this board
so
flight?
I stood up and looked around. Most people were sleeping, some people were reading, you know, but I could still hear it. You know, I was born to perform signs and wonders in His name, in my left ear. So I realized what was going on. The presence of God was so strong, you know, in that moment. You know, I was sitting down in the seat and just humming it and tears coming down. So I took my phone and recorded what I was hearing. So that's how More came about.
Beautiful song there by Irene Logan. That'll be all for Showbiz here on Joy News today. My name is Becky.
Thank you for staying with us. Right before we wrap, we draw your attention once more to the classroom project which we're initiating. And the Momo number you can see there, 0593 038 832. And the name on it is Joy FM. I'll go over the number again, 0593 038 832, like you can see on your screen. If you want the account name, Multimedia Group Limited or Joy, OPS. The bank is Access Bank Ghana. And the account number is what you can see on your screen, 00901010549191. It's the Castle Road, Accra branch. Well, thank you very much for staying with us on Joy News today. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Do stay for the rest of our programming.